Welcome back to the Toppling TBR. I'm Stacey.
And I'm Hannah. And today we are diving into Tower of Dawn, Part 1, which is the God City. Okay, so let's start. This book gets so much hate, and I know Part 1 actually starts off I know it's Part 1. It's like, I hate this book. Just kidding.
Yes.
Part 1, me. So Part 1 starts off pretty slow. Not gonna lie. I forgot how slow it was until I read it. But how did you feel about it? Did you like it so far? Or do you like it so
You
far?
know, it was really weird because it was kind of a culture shock to go from all the incredible things that were going on in the last book to all of a sudden, like
So
everything slowed down. I'm like, huh. It's kind of
yeah.
like I was running and I had to stop dead. And I'm like, but I
Hey.
understand what the book was trying to accomplish because obviously what was going on with Chaol was way calmer. Like it's only
Yeah.
just starting to pick up now. So I actually
Empire
quite
Flynn
enjoyed.
action.
Yeah, well, I guess I was missing the action, but after a while, because I had to go back and reread some parts because I was a little out of it. But I was like, you know what? Actually, this is kind of nice because it kind of felt like it brought me back down to a more level place as I was reading it, and I didn't feel quite so amped up. And
Mhm.
I'm enjoying all the new characters, and I think that
Aw,
was the highlight of this part for me was the new
the new
people.
cast. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the book gets so much hate because people, obviously hate Kale, and they
Yes.
are a little, from what I've heard, a little bored with his healing journey, and
Yes.
I saw this girl, and she's like, "You know what? This book gets so much hate." Everybody's like, "I can't stand Kale. I can't stand Kale." You know what? He can't stand either.
Okay.
That's bad though, right?
That's hilarious. Oh my god, that was
Right?
hilarious.
I loved it.
That's
So
oh
he
my
literally
god.
can't stand, but also I feel like that goes both ways. Like, I feel like he also can't stand himself at this point. Like, he's got so much shame and
Yeah,
so much guilt for everything that he, participated in or was just a
for
part
sure.
of. But okay, so we start off this section with Kale and Nezryn arriving in Antica, or the southern continent, and they've got two goals. It's heal Kale and then get the Coggin to agree to lend his armies for the war. But right after they get there, they learn that the Duke slash Erewhon sacked Rifthold, and we see Nezryn kind of like shut down. She's super, super sad and regrets coming and is super worried for her family. But thankfully we find out that they made it out of the city.
Yes.
So when they first get there, they're greeted by the Coggin and 5 of his 6 kids. So let's see, we've got Argan, who's the Prince of
Yep,
Spies, and we haven't really gotten a whole lot of backstory on a lot of them, but we will throughout the book. So we've got
yeah.
Argan, Prince of Spies, we've got Sartak, who commands the Rooks, Hasar commands warships, Cashin is the foot soldiers, and then Duva is just recently married and pregnant. I don't know that she has a lot of potential and stuff besides that. We'll see. And then Tumaloon, we learn, had recently died.
Yeah.
So I know we haven't gotten like a whole bunch of history, but you said you're enjoying the new cast. So are any of the siblings or anybody like more interesting to you than the others
Quite like the sister. It
that
kind
have
of yeah, I don't know, I feel like she's got stuff going on in the background that we don't know yet. Like she's kind of
nice?
a bit sneaky. Yeah. I kinda like her. And who's the one flying around on the birdie thing? Yeah,
The
I
rook
made notes.
that's
I can't
Sartak.
yeah, I can't read any of my notes because I was so
Oh,
high on painkillers. It's just like scribbles. I'm like my husband's like, "What did you write here?" I'm like, "Not a
yeah,
clue."
you
No,
said that,
no.
and that's what I was like. All right, well, I'm gonna recap who the characters are. Like, let's just go into this and make sure she knows what's going on.
But yeah, the one flying around on the Nuck, did you
That's
say it's called
that's Sartak.
Sokka? Yeah, I like him. I
Me too.
like
He's
him.
like just a kind, helpful. I like him a lot.
Yeah,
He's got
I
a lot
do.
of character growth too.
Yeah, and I kind of like him and Nezryn, like,
Yeah.
with the stuff that's going on between them right now, and I know I shouldn't because she's supposed to be with Kale, but
It's kinda refreshing though because we see, with all these pairings from SJM with any pairing really, whether they're romantic or not, they go in, like, fast and they start off hating each other, and then
yeah.
it's enemies to lovers and, like, everything, and I feel like with Sartek and Nezrin, it's been a really nice slow building of trust. It's been, like, kind and genuine, and I
Yeah.
enjoyed their scenes as well.
Yeah, I really liked it. Because I know it's not really about what's going on in the Throne of Glass world right now. It's kind of separate from that, but it's kind of nice to see that people are still making connections
Yeah.
in a world full of turmoil right now. I
Mhm.
actually really liked it. Someone was complaining about it in one of my Facebook groups. I'm like, shh, no.
And don't say anything, don't ruin anything. Okay,
Yeah, like, be quiet.
so Timlin's death was officially, considered suicide, but we
Yeah,
see
I ain't
that
buying that.
Passion refuses to accept that, and I was
Yeah,
gonna ask
I
if you
agree.
thought you don't
Yeah.
think it was suicide, you think it was Valg? So my
Yeah.
question though is later we see a Valg has, like, emaciated and drained this healer. Timlin's body, it didn't mention was like that, right? They said she threw herself off a balcony. So, but if it was Valg, why would it have not killed her in the same way?
That's interesting.
But also,
I'm
if it
wondering if
was
they
Valg, was it why go after a sister? Is it like a was it politically motivated? And if so, why go after that sister? Like, I just have so many questions because I don't even know that that ever fully gets answered, but
ooh, that's
I've
intriguing.
always got
It's funny
I've
because
always
I guess I didn't think about that from that standpoint. I was thinking more that someone killed her, not necessarily.
oh, that it was Valg.
Yeah, that somebody wanted her dead. Though I didn't believe it
Maybe.
was suicide, but I don't necessarily believe it was Vogue either. So I don't know. That's a really
Okay.
good question. That's a really good question.
Okay.
And if I hadn't have been high on painkillers, I may well have.
That's okay. I'll share all mine with you.
Please do, because I feel like I missed something. And I did go back and reread some of the chapters, but I don't know, fuzzy-headed. I was like, "Yeah, great."
Yeah, I understand. Well, if you're gonna be fuzzy-headed on anything, part 1 of this book is probably the one to do it on because it's just introducing people, and not that that's not important, but you're not missing any, like, huge key things.
Yeah, I kind of
So
felt like I hadn't because it's moving very slow. But
yeah, it is.
I don't know, I am enjoying it though. I kind of feel like the
Yeah.
change of pace was a bit of a culture shock, but I
Well,
don't
it
mind
picks
it.
up in the next part, so get ready. So
Excellent, I'm ready.
Cashin does not believe her death was a suicide, so he asks Chaol to keep an eye out for Valg. So,
Right.
um okay, so then we jump to Irene, and we learn that she has been at the Torre, and she actually took Aelin up on her, with her money and everything to go learn, and she's at the top of her class, and she
Yep.
is the famed Golden Lady, and she is the unofficial heir apparent to Hafisa. And then so Hafisa asks her to go heal Chaol, and she says that she has a soul wound that she needs to heal. And I guess I was curious if you have any ideas of what that soul wound is, because I was looking at it, I'm like, "Well, maybe she just needs to learn to forgive or, like, keep an open mind with anybody Otterlanian." I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
No, that's a really good question because she has a lot of hate for that, right? Because she blames the king
yeah,
for, yeah, what happened to her
everything. And
mother,
anybody
so
who worked for him, she deems just as evil as the king.
well, he would well, Kale, we can understand that because he was doing a lot of the things
Yeah,
that
the captain of the
uh,
guard. He was the one
yeah,
leading all of that. So
exactly.
so in their first meeting, we see Irene come in and she's just hostile and, like, pretty unprofessional in my opinion. So if you were
Yeah.
her, would you have been able to, like, put all of your past trauma and everything on the back burner and actually greeted him with kindness? Or would you have been like, "Does your dick work?" The same way she is?
I don't know, to be honest. I'd like to think if I was a healer that I would be able to
Yeah,
push that to one side, but I'm a vengeful little bitch, so probably not. I don't probably have been the same
what?
way.
I
I probably would have
really
said no. I
yeah.
probably would have said no.
Well, I don't know though, but if your main goal is to leave and go to Finharrow and your, master or teacher or whatever is like, "This is one last test that you have to pass in order to basically
Um,
leave with my blessing."
yeah, I don't know. I think I still may have said no.
I I
It would
really
have been
enjoyed
really
that scene
hard.
too when Irene was like, "So does your manhood work to completion?" And she, like, looks at Nezra and, like, I enjoyed her little sassiness right there. 'Cause she's just
I felt for her because that's a really horrible situation to be put in for a start.
it
That's a
is,
really horrible thing to have to deal with.
it is. So, but then she does decide, to be a bigger person, and she decides she'll heal Kale. So in their first session, she feels this, evil Vogue force, this, not of this world, and she's like, "What is that?" And he opens up, and but obviously not about the keys, but he tells her about everything, which I was happy that he did that so early on. But she's like, I need to learn about this. So she goes to the library to do research,
Mhm.
and Nusha brings her all of these books, and she's studying, and in one of these books is called the Song of the Beginning,
Yep.
and she sees these images of these Vogue kneeling in front of this, obsidian gate, and she learns that there were 3 Vogue kings who were the wielders of the keys, and it's Mantis, Orcus, and Erewhon,
Yep.
and she also sees, them tied on an altar and basically the Vogue going in and taking over their body. So we learn a little
Right.
bit more information with regard to the kings there. But then she's hearing all these noises, and so she's like, "Oh shit, I gotta run." So she takes the books and run, and she trips over this emaciated dead healer, which
Yes.
was kinda creepy, and, it's the one that looks like
Horrible.
Irene, so she's thinking, "Oh, they're targeting me," which is terrifying,
Yes.
but, it also mentions in the scene that there are tunnels under the library,
Yeah.
which and they're boarded up, which I thought was super weird because there's a later part in the book that Sartaq and Nezryn run into each other, and they're like, "Oh, is there any way into the Torre?" And they're like, "Oh, let's go hunt through these tunnels and see." And then they came up saying that there were no tunnels. So I'm like, "Well, how did they not find out about these tunnels?" But, like, I don't remember if it was Nusha or Irene know about them. That was a little
Yeah,
contradiction that I saw, and I was like, "Weird."
that is weird.
So, but jumping back into healing Kale, we learned that, his physical healing is directly linked with his emotional healing. And Kale doesn't want to open up. Go figure. That's been, his character the entire time.
No, not Kale.
He
An open
hates being,
book.
yeah, he hates being vulnerable and he hates that he needs help. And, she's going to make him get over that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About time.
Right? It is about time. So Nezryn goes with Sartaq because she's like, all right, let's get some information or at least, get in your good graces. And they
Right.
go up in the air and she's flying on a rook or flying on a rook. I I don't know. I love anything to do with flying creatures. So I enjoyed that.
I actually
But
really enjoyed the fact that they used a different animal, like, opposed to
yeah,
it always being I thought this was phenomenal.
yeah.
Absolutely wonderful.
And I really like Kadara too. You'll get to know her a little bit more throughout his rook. But
Good.
so she's flying over the city and she's like in awe because she's got this deep connection with this land. But it mentioned
Yeah.
she's like, why did my dad leave? And like I don't know if it ever said it in the book.
Oh, I
Like,
don't know.
why did her dad leave? If this is like the god city and it's, all kind and whatever. I don't know. That was
That's a good
I guess
question.
something that I'll pay attention to see if it I need to go back and write down
Yeah.
all my just my questions, not in the middle of all my notes. That way I can, like, see if
Yeah.
they're answered by the end of the series.
So you can find if they've been answered or maybe we missed it. I hate that when the
Yeah.
thought that I've missed something.
Yeah, but if I write them down, if I ever do a reread, I'll be able to, like, just pull out my questions instead.
That's
I'll get
smart.
organized. But
Good. That's really
so
smart.
while Nezryn and Sartaq are flying, we see Nezryn's, speaking really highly of Dorian and Aelin, and Chaol's doing the same with Nezryn. They're trying to get them to see them as their own rulers, with their own motivations, and they're not just
Right.
following in the footsteps of the evil king. So after that, Chaol asks Nezryn to go hunt for the Val because, obviously he can't. And she runs into Sartaq, or he runs into her. I don't know. I think he's following her. But she ends up telling him, like, "Oh, she's fine. She hunted these Vogue creatures, the entire time she was in Rifthold." And he, in turn, agrees to have his spies keep an eye out for her family and, keep them safe if they
Yeah.
learn anything.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, yeah, they're working together. They're a good little team.
Like it.
So, in the next healing session, Yrene sees Marath and all of its armies, and then Chaol seeing, all of these terrible memories, and he's just taking it like a champ because he thinks he deserves it. He's so hard on
Yeah.
himself. I actually have a lot of sympathy for Chaol this read through. I really do. Like I understand him more.
Yeah. Now that I was always on his side anyway, but hearing the bad things that had happened to him, I'm like, "Oh, he's like a puppy. He's like a little
Yeah.
puppy. Like, why are people so mean to my puppy?" I
Especially his
like it.
parents. His dad is a douche.
Epic. Epic
Ugh,
one.
that's a we'll get there in a minute. Let's see. So Irene asks him to come to her self-defense class to teach what he knows, and they will be riding a horse to get there. And then he got up in the saddle by himself. He's so like stubborn, but like in the best way. Like he's capable and he knows he's capable. No matter how hard it is, he's not gonna swallow his pride and accept help. He's gonna do it
Yep.
himself. So I enjoyed that. And I also really enjoyed their ride to the Torre, how protective Chaol was of her. He saw all these men looking at her, and he's, like, giving them the stink eye. Like, "Don't look at
Yeah.
her." I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I did too. They have a
So when
nice little rapport going on as the book
they
progresses too.
they do, but it's also, like, back and forth. It's not just, like, steadily progressing in, like, a positive
No.
way. Like, they're both stubborn and yeah. I like it, though. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. It feels more authentic because both of them have been through hell. Both of them have had to overcome some stuff and forgiven themselves for things. It's interesting to watch them kinda interact. I like it.
Yeah, I agree. So they get to the Torre and, all of the healers are studying him and he's pissed about that. So, do you think Irene just didn't consider the way that he would take that? Or I mean, I feel like she knows him on a deeper level and she understands him, and I feel like she knows he's a prideful man and he wouldn't have liked that. I think she had to have just not considered it. Or just like, "Oh, I'm not gonna ask permission, I'm just gonna ask forgiveness," maybe?
I think it's just that she knew that if she asked, he'd probably say no, and she wanted it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, true.
I'd probably have done the same thing. I don't really think she was thinking about how it would make him feel either.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
at the end of all of that, Kale actually admits that he was sad and embarrassed and he felt bare, which, excuse me, Kale Westfall, are you speaking about the way things made you feel? That was
I
such progress for
know!
him.
Are you
That was the
opening up
first
a little bit?
time. Yeah, but like to admit that you're sad or embarrassed and that you felt bare, like that's a big thing to admit. That's not, I don't know. That's not just something that happened to you.
It
That's
is
your
it's
feelings.
huge. That wasn't a
Yeah.
tiny step either, that was a big step. That was a
So much
big
progress.
step.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that, but I think he's been humbled too, like, with what him not being able to walk. That must be hard for a virile man like him to suddenly not be able to walk, move his legs, take care of himself. That
I
would suck balls. I
Yeah,
couldn't
and someone
imagine.
who was just he was so capable of everything, like, he was active, he was so active that he can still maneuver his body around and get in and out of things with not working from the waist down, like, that's
Yeah.
impressive,
Well,
but
plus she even mentions too that he used to use exercise as a way to, like, channel, like, how he was feeling, and he
yeah,
was doing that
or
and
ignore it.
overexerting himself, so he could know that you can't do that anymore, and that's how you
Yeah.
cope. That must really fucking suck.
Oh my gosh, right? I couldn't
Ugh, couldn't
imagine.
imagine. No.
But so in return for him opening up, she kinda opens up too, and she tells him that Autolarni Autolon Autolonian? Autolonian. Gosh, I'm having
I'm glad
trouble
I'm not the
today.
only one.
She tells him that those soldiers actually burned her mom alive when she was 11. And in that healing session, she hears Kale screaming. And so she follows him. And what was so creepy about that session to me is she made a comment afterwards and she was like, I wonder, like the darkness was laughing at me. I wonder if it's going to remember me the next time I go in there. And I'm like, to think of the darkness that's in him as this like conscious
As a
being.
physical thing, yeah. This
Whoa.
sentient being, yeah, that
That
freaked me right out.
neat. And the fact that it was laughing at her, I was like, "Okay, that is a whole
What
'nother
makes
level
you
instead of."
That's some serious magic for a spell to have done that. Like, did that take a piece of its, like, being when
And
it did that
implant
thing
it
to
in
Cat like,
there.
is oh my god, no.
So is he part Vogue
Yeah,
at the
oh
moment
my
until
god.
she gets I mean, and not in the same way, but if he's got it living in him.
Could it even spread? Could it make things worse if it wasn't
I
attended
don't
to?
know.
Oh my god.
We'll find out.
Question.
Questions. So that was a big healing journey. So after that one, he can move his toes.
Yes, I liked that. That was
Yeah.
epic.
Yeah, but then he doesn't tell Nezryn, which I don't know why you wouldn't. That's imagine you and you are paralyzed for months or however long it is. And then you've made progress and you can freaking move your toes. How excited would you be? I'd want to tell everybody. I'd be like, everybody, look at my feet.
You know what? But he is one of those people that he is glass half empty. What if he thinks that's all he'll ever get? Maybe he doesn't wanna give her hope.
True.
Because
Or
I
maybe that it
kind
was
of
just a
felt like
fluke.
yeah, I because I me personally, if I was paralyzed and I could suddenly move my toes, I wouldn't wanna be given false hope out. What if that's as good as it gets?
True.
I'd what yeah, I don't know. I kinda that I guess that just
Yeah,
I kind of felt
it
like
makes sense for
I
his
might not.
character too.
Yeah, it kind of did. Yeah, it kind of did. Because if the next session he can move a little more, then he probably would have said, "Hey, we're seeing some progress now. I've had
Right.
2 sessions where I could move my toes, and now I can move my foot." You know what I mean? I could kind of see it being more like that than him going, "Hey, I got toe move."
I got, but we did actually learn.
Go crazy. You know what I mean? I don't know. It kind of fit for me, I guess.
Yeah, it does. It does for him. But we did actually learn too that Nezryn was she saw his toes moving and Nick made her cry. And I was like, that's sweet. She cares about
Yeah,
him
but
a
maybe
lot.
he was trying to avoid that too. Crime women, he don't deal so well with
No,
emotions
he does.
either.
No, he does not. Hopefully, though, after all of these healing sessions and him having to confront all of these emotions, he'll be better fit or better equipped to do that. I think this.
It made me wonder because one thing I did write down was, is this healing thing that's going on with him right now, is she healing parts of himself that was damaged before as well? Is she clearing blockages out?
Absolutely. You
Yeah,
have
because
to
'cause I'm
you
like
I think you have to get through all of that trauma and hurt to actually get down to the so I think you're healing It's like a big old therapy session, you know?
Yeah, that's kinda how I felt about it too. I'm like, she's probably undoing more than just the last thing that happened to him. I'm wondering if this has
Absolutely.
been
And then
she's undoing a
Hafisa
lot.
telling her that she had a soul wound that needed to be healed. We're seeing, because this magic is so strong, we're seeing that she has to pour some of her own trauma and positivity and all of these different feelings into it as well. So she's also
Yeah.
healing too.
Yeah.
It's just
It's kinda nice that they're doing
it
that together. It's
is.
like a
It's
little journey.
refreshing.
It is, it's
So
really sweet. It's really sweet.
yeah. So after, she that big session, she went into this big restorative sleep, which we see with people who use
Yeah.
a lot of magic. But Chaol goes to meet her at the Torre and brings her horse. And then they go on their little mission through the city to heal all the randoms and stuff.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the new mom that was like, "Hey, what's going on between you 2? Are you guys fucking or what?" Pretty much. We learn she's like, "Well, I would." But we learn
Yeah.
that Irene says that because he's a patient, he's a firm no, which we directly see after that there's something there whenever they go to the ball and they're sitting in the couch or on the couch with the opiates and everything, and they're like almost kiss. They're like
Yeah.
staring intently into each other's eyes and all of this. They definitely had a moment.
Well, there's definitely been some moments.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It feels like it's like 1 minute it's like, definitely fucking not, and it's like, "Oh, maybe." It's like, "Oh, no, wait, no, no. Oh, maybe."
I think obviously we see in the beginning that Chaol finds her attractive. She probably
Oh,
would
yeah.
never admit to that, even though she's like, "Oh, his muscled body and whatever." Like, she sees it, but she won't admit to it because she hates him, you know? But there's something there, but also through the journey of healing and being vulnerable and emotional and opening up, you get to see a different side of someone, you know?
Yeah.
You start to trust them. So we've got all of that playing into this, and also she's like, "Oh, no, you're a firm no because you go against all of my pre-set rules." So that I think
Yeah.
is a lot of the back and forth. I don't think Chaos is really back and forth as much. I think we see that come into play whenever his guilt comes in with
Yeah. Well,
regards
you
to Nezryn.
well, because this whole thing about him and Nezryn too, like, that must because he's like, "I didn't make her any promises, but I kind of am making her promises," you know, and
But I'm
he was really fighting with that too.
Yeah. So we see too that he feels guilty after that, and Nezryn knew it, but it also made a comment that she has been the replacement for 3 women in his life. Excuse
Oh,
me? What? And I
yeah.
think it was the first girlfriend before Aelin, and then now I'm assuming she's counting Yrene too.
Maybe.
So poor Nezryn.
But she's accepting that. She's
She is.
accepting him however she can get him, but it doesn't feel like all this stuff that's going on with that other guy, I kind of feel like she's not that invested anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
There's something
Which
happening over here too.
I'm super glad, because what if she didn't have that? And then she goes down
Yeah.
there and finds out her family, had to
Ugh.
flee. And
That is
Chaol, who she
messy.
went here with, who's supposed to be doing this, is like, fawning over his healer. Like, that would have been really sad. So I'm super glad she has someone of an
Yeah, that would have been
outlet,
fucking messy. That would have been heartbreaking
It
because
would
she went
have.
to help him and to protect him and to get him what he needed, and he's yeah, making
Yeah,
goo goo eyes at somebody else. I'd be pissed. But
right.
no, it makes sense. I think it's a natural progression of the fact that these two that the trainers run to the end of the station, and I think that they're better off as friends. And I kind of felt that way the whole time. It didn't
There's no
feel right.
spark. Yeah.
No, it didn't feel. They were there.
Even
They were
though
there for each other when they needed it, not because they wanted it.
Yeah, he even kissed her at one point, and, like, he was like, "Oh, there's no spark," or maybe it was from her. I think it was
Yeah.
from him. So
Didn't he kiss her, and it was so quick she didn't even have time to move. Like, she didn't even get to put her hands on him.
yeah, I don't remember what it was. I just remember I feel like he
It was
kissed her
weird.
to, like, see, and then he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, there was no spark," and then, like, they suggested that they have sex later, and then they never actually did, so I don't
It's kinda cringy. I think it's they've gone through so much together, and I can understand that trying to connect that way makes sense, but it actually really doesn't make sense. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it when she went with him. I'm like, "Is she going as a god or a girlfriend?" Because it's just not working for me.
honestly, I think they're both, and I hate to say this because I know you love Kale, I think they're both kinda boring, and I think that in a relationship, you need someone who has a little bit more fire and who isn't just so even keel.
He need he needs his opposite because this is like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying my husband's boring or anything, but I am loud and
Yeah.
quirky, and he's really quiet and reserved. But we
Yeah.
balance each other out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that's why it didn't
We
work
see
for
that
me.
we see that with all the other characters in the book too, Aelin and Rowan. Aelin's fiery and whatever, and Rowan's kinda calm. And then
Yeah,
even Manon and Dorian. Actually, Dorian has calmed down and gotten a lot more quiet and reserved since the
yeah,
Vogue enslavement, but,
yeah,
he's always been outspoken and all that. Manon is
yeah.
more, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, you're not
I
wrong.
don't think that they were. I don't think Nezryn and Chaol would've or should've or I wouldn't have even enjoyed them being in game. So,
No. No.
I'm
I'm
gonna be
actually
mad.
glad that they're not. I'm hoping they're not. It doesn't feel like they are. It doesn't feel like that's heading
They
that way.
they
It
kinda
feels
they
like
kinda end on a, "Okay, well, we're gonna do our own thing at the end of this section."
yeah,
Oh,
it's I don't know. She doesn't seem that bothered. He don't seem bothered. Like, it just
no.
didn't uh,
It was meant to be this way.
yeah, I'm enjoying the way the story's leading away from the 2 of them
Yes,
because
I
yeah.
agree. So at the party, Hasara had told Irene to get Chaol to tell her where Aelin was. I think she's
Yeah.
scared of her or she wants to know where she is. And then Chaol is just like, "Oh, Skulls Bay. Like that's the last place she'll be." But I think actually if you overlap the timelines, I'm pretty sure she was going to or was in Skulls Bay in Empire of Storms at this time because after Rifthold, she sent Dorian and Rowan there and then she went
Yeah.
there to go meet him.
That's right, yeah.
So that
But
was
as
like
far as he knew, he knows she was going to Terrason, right?
yeah, so he was
She was
like,
supposed to go home.
"Well, what's the last place she'd be?" "Oh, Skulls Bay, because that was the last place," because it said because she
Uh,
wasn't allowed back there. So he ends up
that's right.
giving that
But she yeah.
information, and that's actually where she's
It makes it
going.
look like he didn't. Yeah, but it also makes it look like he didn't lie now, even though he really fucking
Yeah, yeah,
did.
which actually might be beneficial because I'm pretty sure Hasar is a feisty little like, vengeful
Mhm.
woman.
Yes, I like her though. I'm hoping that we get more in the next book with these characters because
We do.
I could see some really good
Ye
there's gonna be some great stuff going on if we get
Yeah,
more of that.
you'll really get to know you don't get to know all of the siblings in depth, but you get more Hasar, you get more Sartak, you get a
That's
little
all I
bit of
care
the
about.
other ones,
That's all I care about.
but you also get the Rukin, and so all of Sartak's Rukin people, and there's some people in that that I freaking love. One of my favorite characters in this whole
Oh,
book
great.
is over there, so I'm super excited. I
Yeah.
was hoping that that would show up in the first part, but it didn't, so I'm really excited to reread that.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
I can't wait for this one to be this is probably going to be my least favorite unless the second half picks up.
the second half
Although,
definitely
nah,
picks up.
Assassin's Blade's still gonna be the worst. I don't know, I just even now that we're piecing together these characters, I don't know. Just
Yeah, well, it doesn't have the depth that everything
yeah,
else does. They're little short stories, so it's just
yeah,
little bits of information of history, and there's not
yeah.
any of the depth and excitement and action and all of that. So I think, well, it's a novella. You can't do. Obviously,
Yeah,
Sarah
you
J
can't really do a
Maas's
lot with it.
novellas are not the best. Even Frost and Starlight was definitely my least favorite. So,
Yeah. Yeah, you're
but
right there as yeah, it was Miley's favorite as well. No, it's just, it's a very weird parallel to know that what's going on with Aelin right now and what's going on with Kale, it almost feels like Kale's on vacation.
compared to all the action and battles and everything that's going on, yeah,
It's just
yeah.
I'm like,
I
"You're
got a
fucking
cozy
lucky.
bed
I
and a
know you
pretty
can't
lady giving
walk."
me massages.
Yeah, it's like, "I know you can't walk, but hey, you ain't dealing with all the shit that's going on over there."
He's dealing with his own battles. Different
Yeah,
just
he is, and I think it's necessary to get him healed so that he can be a really pivotal part of the battles going forward. It makes complete sense to me why she wrote this. I
yeah,
don't
and
know why it's a
also
whole fucking book this big though,
but
but
you'll learn so much happens in the
yeah,
next part. Like
okay.
in every book of hers, minus Empire of Storms. Empire of Storms was like 12 pages in and we're at a battle. Like,
It was
it was
so
a lot.
good.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was a
so good.
lot. But this one is more back and reflective of her other books where it's slow build, starting the story, and then bam at the end. So we'll get there.
I think it's weird that we've gone backwards too, because at this point, Aylin's not even been taken. She's not even gone yet. And
No.
it feels weird
No.
knowing all these things that we know and that Kale's just like flapping
Well,
around, I guess.
that's why a lot of people suggest the tandem read, which
Yeah, like
I would have loved to do, but I don't know. I would have had to, like, look to see if there's, like, good stopping points, like, if both end at the end of part
yeah,
1 to make the podcast. It would have been more difficult, I feel that way.
how would you have picked out where to stop at the same point between the
Be
books
well, I
either?
it might end both of them on tandem after part 1, but that would have been 2 part 1, so our episode would have been insanely long. So I would have had to find a quarter of the
Yeah,
way
but
into
that's
the
what
book
I
to
mean. So
end
where
it.
would you have
Yeah.
oh,
I would have had to, like, go down a
yeah.
rabbit hole and try to find it. So for podcast form, I feel like this is better, but next reread, I will probably attempt the tandem read.
I think when I get round to doing this again, I probably would do the tandem read. Is there like
Yeah.
a breakdown online anywhere?
And it tells you
Okay.
which chapter, so you'd have to go tab them all, but from what I remember, you tab your books anyway on, like, how far you're gonna read, so you
Yeah,
might
I do
actually
that
do well with
with
that.
magnets, with magnet bookmarks. I do not use
Fancy.
tabs, nothing with sticky stuff.
Oh, no, 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 I do bookmarks, but I'd have to do a bookmark after each one, just like whenever I get to it, I'd flip to the next book or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
So,
I would probably do that next time. Okay.
yeah. Okay, let's jump back in. So next session after the party, Irene goes, I always wanna call her Irene. So
It's
every
just
time I say her name, I'm
irritable.
like, E-I.
Yeah.
So every time she goes and she sees Nezryn and Chaol in bed together, and she gets super jealous, and she's like, "Oh, she has a tonic, there's a tonic for her, blah, 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 blah." And Chaol's like, "Well, we haven't done that." So we see, I guess, that, she was flustered by the party too. There's something there.
Yes, but that also tells you that she felt she's got feelings, whether she likes
Yeah.
him or not, otherwise I wouldn't have bothered her, not even a little
Right.
bit.
Right. But then Chaol sees all of her books 'cause she brought the books, and he sees the word marks, and, he can't read word marks, but she tells him of the pictures in the books, and she's like, "What happened to the other Vogue kings?" And he's like, "I don't know." She's like, "Well, you need to figure that out. Like, what if they try to come back?"
It's like, I didn't even think about that. It didn't cross my mind. It didn't cross my mind, and I'm like, "Holy shit, how has nobody thought about this yet?"
Yeah, well, they have a brother here, so, like, what if their whole goal is to try to find or rescue their brother, or they still want to, take over this world with him?
I guess I didn't think about it because I was like, when it was just him left, I'm like, "Okay, so clearly the other 2 must be dead." Well, no,
We
I
don't
don't
do
even know where
that.
I got that idea from.
Yeah, because 'cause I'm pretty
Because
sure they were
I was like
banished back through the gate somehow, I think.
yeah, yeah, they must have, but I was like, "Oh my god, how dense am I that this hadn't even occurred to me until
Yeah,
she
I
said
didn't
it."
think about it either. Oh, it's wild.
I'm like, "Shit."
Yeah, a whole 'nother layer to these things that they have to defeat in order to live in this, their peaceful world.
Didn't even know that. So they're all the other people are fighting, doing what they're doing, and they don't even know all these things that Chaos found out yet because they're not in communication either. So
No.
they're like Jesus fuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Like that was probably the most shocking part of the whole book. Was like,
Well, shit.
yeah,
So on the next healing session, we see Chaol has to confront his POS dad,
yes,
whenever he says he wants to leave ANAL and like kicking him down the stairs. And, he's got a scar on his face from it. I really don't like his dad. I really already didn't like his dad, but like hearing that, and then even the guards that helped him, his dad had banished them in the middle of the winter and like fired them. Like, but anyway, so Irene shows him a happy memory of her as a kid in order to like, try to fight it. And I don't, each time she shows like a memory of herself or she shows up to like battle it in there, he has more progression. So after that one, he can now move his ankles. So
yep,
it really is like a team healing project. So, but also in that, Irene saw a flash of memory of Aelin trying to like, mar his face. So she
yep.
knows and she's like, I know who attacked you. What do you think she makes of that? Because she like idolizes this woman and like she is the whole reason she carries her note around still in her pocket and she's attacking this man with like death in her eyes.
She knows that Aelin protects women. Because she told her when she trained her how to protect herself, you share that knowledge now so women don't
Yes.
ever feel that way. So it's gonna look to her like Chaol did something
Yeah.
to her that wrath.
Well, also though, did she know that she was an assassin? She told her she was an assassin, right? So maybe it
I
could have
think she knew
also
she
looked
was
like he
something
was a
like that,
target.
yeah.
It could have looked like he was a target too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe. That's a very good point. I don't remember if she said she was an assassin.
So yeah, I
Mhm.
think she did. But I'll have to go back and look. But that
Okay.
was interesting to me that I don't know. I feel like she was just like, "Oh, I know who gave you that scar." And she like downplayed it so much because if I had this same feeling and vision and like, this woman changed my life so much, I'd be like, "Oh, should I not trust him?" You
Yeah,
know?
that's kind of where that's kind of where I went with it because I'm like, is she gonna think now that he was doing something bad to a woman and she was punishing him, but he's still alive. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. And he didn't say anything
No,
while
yeah,
she
that
did
was
that
just
because
it's like
her
a
friend
small
died
comment
and
and
she
that
was
was it.
angry at me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that could have been easily have remedied if she'd because he must have seen what she was seeing, right?
Yeah. I
Like
think that they can kinda see what's going on with each other in there. Oh,
yeah, and
well.
he could have turned around and said, "Hey, well, you know what? One of her friends died, someone that she really loved, and she was angry, and she blamed me for not informing her there was
Yeah.
a problem. But I thought I was protecting her, and it would have been okay. Well, that makes sense now. You know what I mean? And then she could have asked, "Well, who is she? We've got some
I feel like
information."
I would have questions if I were her, but, whatever.
I'm really nosy, so yeah, I would have had a
Me
lot of
too.
questions. I've been
I need
like,
to
"Who is
piece
she? How do you know her?
yeah, I need to
Why
piece
did she
all
cut
the
you?
pieces
Like, what's
together.
wrong with you?"
Yeah. Okay. Sartak then asks Nezryn to go on the weeks-long adventure with him to, the Rukin people. And she agrees to go, which good. She went there for an adventure,
Yeah.
and she's definitely not getting it with Chaol, so she'll go get one with him. But, she leaves with him, and she leaves a note for Chaol that was like, "I will hold you to no promises. I won't hold myself to any either." And to me, that was kinda like their little breakup note,
Yeah.
so. And on this trip, we learn that Sartak has actually heard of Nezryn before. His spies had named her Neith's Arrow, which it
Yeah.
says was the goddess of archery and the hunt. And so, but do they have different? I know that they honor all of the gods there, and we haven't heard of the goddess of archery, but isn't Deanna the goddess of the hunt? So do they have different goddesses of the hunt in different continents? Or are there
Well,
multiple
maybe
since there's
because
36 gods?
well, we do in ours, right? They have Greek and Roman,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
was Aphrodite and Venus. So yeah, that would make sense to name them differently. We do the same thing. So yeah,
Okay.
that would make sense to me.
So back at the castle or palace, Chaol and Irene go to the Tory Library and they go deep down, find all the old books, trying to find more information. This was one thing that like I should have gone back and read before we filmed this, but it said in there that the Vogue wanted to kill the healers, or the Vogue wanted the healers, so the
Yeah,
king was killing the healers so the Vogue couldn't
healers.
have them. But
Yeah.
then also it said that the Vogue wanted to kill the healers and they killed the healer at the castle, right? So did they wanna use them or do they wanna
I
kill them?
I think that was it was about the king was worried that they were gonna get inside the healers and do something with their
Oh,
bodies, so
because they
he
would
had them
have
all killed
them.
off. Yeah, and he didn't want the healers, and that's why he stopped the magic stuff too, so that they
But then if
wouldn't have access to that magic.
but then if that's the case, then why would they kill the healer that they thought was Irene instead of enslaving her?
I don't know why they want her dead yet. Do we know why they want her dead?
No, but she thinks it's because of her digging into this information, because whenever she fled the library, she took a bunch of the books with her, and then she went back and the books were gone. So she thinks that whatever that bald creature or whatever that was in the library took her books.
Mm.
So they don't want her finding out this information.
Maybe they don't have anything to enslave them with there. Maybe
Oh,
that's
maybe
not
they
why
don't.
they're there. Maybe they need like and trying to take something across the continent. I think it was just easier to kill her off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was really intrigued by that because she turned around and said, "But we don't have magic."
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
Do we
they
learn more
do have
about that?
magic.
Not in the same way that it would be useful for war, right? That's what she said. We don't have magic to be
Yeah.
useful on the battlefield,
Yeah.
right? So what would that do to magic from a healer? That's a really
I
intriguing
don't
question.
know because we see with like Kaltain's fire that it turned it into like this dark magic shadow fire. So it is symbolic of what it is before, it's just altered and more powerful.
Or can it be that they can kill with their touch as well as heal? Maybe they can
Oh.
adapt the magic so that they can touch you on the battlefield and you collapse and die. Maybe they can
Instead of giving you the life force and
instead of
healing,
giving
they
you
can
the
take it
yeah,
from you
instead of
too.
healing you, they kill you that way. Oh, that would be oh my god, that would be terrifying. If that is what the king was trying to stop, holy shit.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
Oh my god, this book could literally go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. I love part 2 of this book. Like,
I can't
part
wait.
1 of this book, honestly, I didn't stop or read it slow enough to know how slow the first part was, but, like, in
Yeah.
writing down stuff for the podcast, I'm like, "There's not a lot here," and you were like, "Should we do the whole book?" And I was like, "No, because trust me, the second part is so action-packed and so full
Well,
that
that's what I was wondering. I got like what chapter did I stop at? I was at chapter 19 and I'm like, what is there really to talk about here?
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't really like I wrote notes down, but they made no sense. So I don't
Yeah,
even
I
know
had to,
why.
like, dig and, like,
I was like,
try to expand some stuff.
"God,
Wait, like, even if this one only ends up being, 45 minutes, like, adding that on to, probably, like, the hour and a half
hour
next
and
one would
50.
be
Yeah,
huge.
that would have been a long
Yeah.
episode. Yeah. No, you
No,
made
and
the
it
right
also
call.
makes it way easier for, like, organizing and stuff, so
Yeah.
like,
Oh no,
whenever we
you
did
made the
Air of
right call.
Fire, I was like, "How? This is a lot. Let's try it because we did the whole book in one."
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. I didn't it doesn't look that big, and I think it's like 900 like 700 pages, right? Or
Yeah.
660. Yeah, that's still a lot of book.
Yeah, I'm excited though. Okay, so let's jump back in. So Chaol back at the palace sees that Shen, this guard who was kind to him and everything, has a complete metal arm. And I loved that because I think that that was so motivating and inspiring for Chaol to see that someone who is a cripple or handicap
Yeah.
can be so capable and can still go out
Yeah.
and fight on the battlefields, and I think that was, like, a little bit of, like, motivation for him, so I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that part.
Yeah, that's very validating because now he
Yeah,
sees that even with deficits, you can find a way to make these things work and you can be okay.
absolutely.
And I love that. I really feel like this book did a really good job of that.
Yeah, and even if he doesn't get feeling in his whole legs and stuff, he now knows that he can ride on horseback, so he could
Yep,
technically fight on a horse, which is
yep,
also nice to know. He's got more positive outlooks, and he's starting to have a more positive outlook on life, and I'm really enjoying that because he was not in a good place, rightfully so. I would be the exact same way, but so, he goes back and he gets the note from Nezryn, and he feels like a piece of shit.
yeah,
I mean, you know, he should, but it's okay. And then so much so that he tells Irene whenever she shows up to go away. He yells, he's like, "Get out, go away." So she does, and she ends up going around the city. And then she's like, "You know what? I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind. He doesn't tell me what to do. I'm gonna go back." So she's going back, and she's being like chased and hunted by this creature thing. And she
yep,
hears, hurry and run in her head. And you know how everybody else in the series is like touched by gods or blessed by gods, and they talk to them like
yeah,
with the lead, or her goddess is like, see, 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 and so I
mhm,
took that as Silba telling her at first because she said it's a voice she's heard always. But then, in addition to Silva, her mom comes in and she's like, "Oh, that's my mom's voice." So she's got a goddess, and her mom like, "Run, go, go." I thought that was really cool that they were
yeah,
able to bring back in her mom's voice. I actually really enjoyed that. She's there to protect her too. But she
mhm,
runs into Chaol's room and, they're expecting to have to fight this Vogue, and how terrifying to be Chaol and be in a wheelchair and literally just be able to sit and fight these creatures that are terrifying, and you know how terrifying they are because you were fighting them
yeah,
the entire book a couple books ago.
yeah,
So, but
yeah.
that was
I
pretty.
but did you see how he kinda, like he leveled himself out and he was like, "Run, run," and then he was like, pick up, can you use this? You're gonna use this. We're gonna protect
That's
ourselves, right?" And
well,
he
he's the
kinda like
captain of the guard. That is
yeah,
he's
but
able to
he
go into that calm and think
yeah,
logically.
he didn't think about his deficits. He thought about, "What can I do right now?"
Yeah, I can
And I
throw.
felt like that was Kale really coming back, finally.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree, I agree. Oh, and then, the extra guards show up, Caution shows up, and he's like, "I'll take you back to the Tory," and she's like, "No, I feel safer here with him."
yeah, oh, yes. My heart went a little, "Oh."
Yeah, but
I
also imagine being Caution and being like, "You feel safer with a handicapped man from Otterlin than you do with me, who was, like, your good friend for years."
yeah, but you can kind of they're going through stuff together. I think I'd feel better there as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
It made sense to me. That's where I would have picked as well.
Yeah, well, also at the
Because
Torre
he knows
is
what's going on. The other guy doesn't know what's going on. Hale knows
right.
full well what's fucking going on.
But
I'd
Caution
rather be
does
with the guy with the
have
knowledge.
Huh?
I'd rather be with the guy with the knowledge
Yeah, you're right. You're
than
right.
with somebody who has no clue what's going on.
And someone who fully believes in you. So he handed her the
Yes.
knife and was like, "This is how you hold it. Can you do this?
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. You can do this." Whereas Caution's like, "Oh, no, let me escort you. Let me make sure you're safe. This and that." I don't think that he would have that same faith in her.
I
So,
I
but
don't disagree with you. No. At all.
but but then the next day, Kale goes to train with the guards, and then the next day, and then the next day, and so he really is back, and he's like, "I gotta go learn some new ways of fighting. Like I'm going to succeed. I'm going to be better."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
He's back, and he's building
"Yeah,
back in a more positive and fulfilling way, and I really think that he needed to find his place away from Dorian as well, to find himself, because he's
yeah,
always been his best friend, he's
you're
always
right."
been the king's guard, you know what I mean? It's always been something to do with Dorian, and I think now he's finding his feet by himself, and I think that's really powerful, and I'm really excited to see what it's like when they get back together too, when they're all back together, and
Right.
he's the new version of himself, and I'm really fucking excited for that.
Well, they're all going through so much growth. So they're gonna come back together and,
Yeah,
like, have this I don't know, like, obviously, they have this nostalgic love and past for each other with each other, but then they also are gonna have this, like, appreciation for how far they've all come, and they're gonna really be able to
yeah.
see it, and that's it's beautiful.
You know what the funniest thing is? Like, everyone like, Alien in the last book was so pissed at Aelin for doing the things that she was doing. I think that Kale would have actually have understood what was going on. I think he
Absolutely.
would have it's funny because I'm like, he would have been like, "Yeah, I get it. This makes sense. Let's do this." Like, you know what I mean? He
He's
would
the
have been like,
logical he's the
"Yeah."
logical one, And Adian is the, fiery think in the moment, and Aelin is now she was always that, but she's now having to be both.
Yeah.
And
Well, I feel
so
like Alien kind of feels from the heart too. Like he feels like you hurt him by not including him and he didn't understand. And it takes him a minute to get there. He's kind of slow that way. When I was reading this, I was like, I feel like Kale would have been better off with Ellen because he would have understood what she was up to because it's all
yeah,
strategic in a way that he would have understood. And I'm like, I feel like the reason that they separated him that way is because that she would have had more opposition that way without Kale being on her side. And it was really interesting because it made sense to me. I could see
yes,
where
it did.
Sarah J. Maas was coming from when she had them in 2 separate stories building up separately. And I'm like, because I
Right.
didn't get it. I didn't get it. I'm like, "This doesn't make sense." And now I get it. I get it.
It's really
Smart.
well done.
Very smart.
That's actually really funny that you said Adian was pretty slow in that regard because I saw this thing and it was like, was Sarah J. Maas aware of the fact that Adian spelt backwards is no idea? I was like, okay,
Ah!
probably then, but it is.
That's brilliant. He's just he says like, he gets so upset, and he has to walk away for a bit, and he's like, "No, okay, I get it now." Like, yeah, it takes him a while to like, it goes from here, like, he's angry to, like, thinking it up here.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
just funny because
Hopefully
Kale's the complete opposite of that. It's up here, but it takes him a while to let it get down here, like, into the heart area. That's just
yeah.
funny.
It's wild. Wild, I love it.
It
Okay,
is.
so that is it for the plot and stuff, but I have other random things that I also wanted to talk
Give it
about.
to me. Give it to me.
So, Antigua, the southern continent where they show up, it's a bit of a culture shock whenever we get there. It's so different from Rifthold. So,
Yeah.
what did you have anything that stood out to you that was, like, fascinating or just an interesting difference between the 2?
It really stood out. It
Okay.
wasn't no, not really.
So, something
I'm carry on.
I was gonna say something I thought was super interesting was whenever Sartak and Nezryn were, had flown off and they were camping out for the night, she looked up at the sky and she was like, basically, the stars are different here. So they have different, like, constellations and stars and stuff, which is not technically part of their town, but, like, I thought that was super interesting.
That is very cool. I don't know, I liked the fact that Nezryn is kind of building who she is away from Kale as well. Like, she's getting her own identity, and that's really what I was concentrating on was those 2. I'm so terrible for that.
I really did actually enjoy and I didn't talk about it in this, but I really enjoyed seeing Nezryn with her other family, her uncle and aunt.
Yeah, I actually did as well. That was
And
it
getting
kinda it humanized her a little bit for me as well because she was kind of like she's been in
bland.
go mode all the time, and I feel like that really rounded her out, and I really appreciate her more as a character. So it was
Yeah.
really nice. You're right,
It
that
was
was
nice
really
to
nice.
see the softer side of her and not just the work side of
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, because even with Kale, she still keeps her walls up.
Yeah.
Like, you can see that neither of them are willing to really let the other person in, but to see her and her family was quite delightful.
And
I
even
quite
to, like,
that.
hear that she's a really good singer and that she sang to or is it niece and nephew or
Yeah,
nephews? I don't remember which gender they are, but, like, that was so sweet and cute, and
that
I'm
was
like, "Cool, Nezryn can
adorable.
sing, that's awesome."
I really liked that. I really liked that too. I love your observations. You find out the coolest stuff. Yeah.
Also, though, I do wanna talk about the way that the Coggin choose their next heirs, because, like, okay, normally in, like, what would it be, hereditary monarchies, I guess, where they
Yeah.
choose based on, like, the oldest or whatever, they don't do that here. The Coggin gets to choose who he deems is the most fit to rule, which
Yeah. Interesting.
it's so weird, but also because, okay, the others can be eliminated so that there's not, like, a threat to the throne, which it just seems so it just seems so backwards to me because we hear about this god city, and we hear that, it is a place that is acceptant of everybody, like, they will allow anybody's beliefs, gods, anything. All
Right.
the children get a free education, there's respect for everybody, there are no slaves,
Yeah.
there is everybody is held accountable by law, whether they're royal family or not. Like, it just seems
Right.
like a very well-rounded, amazing, community. But then at the same time, they'll murder their siblings and their babies in cold blood. Like,
Yeah.
it's just such a striking contrast. It seems like they're just completely operating by 2 different moral codes. Like, it was weird.
Yeah, you know what? I can understand kind of where they're coming from with not picking the eldest kid. Because how many times in history has the eldest child like, I'm gonna take, for example, King Henry VIII, he had an older brother, Arthur. Arthur didn't wanna rule, Henry did. So, Arthur died, so Henry ended up anyway becoming king, but Arthur didn't want that, but that's not how that works. So, taking that away kind of makes sense, but killing each other thing,
That
that's kinda
yeah,
weird. That's kinda weird. Now, you could do it so, you have to maybe have a battle or, kinda like what the other king did when he was trying to get the assassin. Maybe you do some testing.
yeah. So, yeah,
It is
I
fuck.
agree with the not choosing the oldest and being able to pick who's best, but, like, killing everybody and even they made a comment, and it's like, basically, "I can't believe Duva would get pregnant and put her baby at risk like that," and I'm like, "They're gonna kill her baby."
Yeah, it's a bit much. I'm not gonna lie, it is a little much, but that's just how they do it. The strongest is the one who is willing to go the lengths to do what needs to be done to take the throne.
Well, then would you ever be able to form, like, close and real sibling bonds with your brothers and
No.
sisters? Are you always gonna think that they're, gonna kill you or you're gonna have to kill them?
Yeah, that's pretty much yeah, there would be no other way. There would
That's
be
so
no other way.
traumatic. Like, what a perfect city, but if you're a royal family, you're
But
gonna
that's
have some
how they're
trauma.
raised. It probably makes sense to them. Now you could
Yeah, they're
probably turn
used to
around and
it.
say, "Hey, I don't wanna rule. I advocate for any of my people. You have at it." Like, can you do that? Can you turn around and say, "No, thanks.
I'll just leave. I'll go to Rifthold. I'm out.
You do you. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I like living. Breathing is nice."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that is pretty extreme. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty
So
extreme.
the last thing that I have is I found a typo.
Did you really? I didn't spot a typo.
Did. On page 229. Hold on, let me go to it. And on my book, it is at the very bottom of the page, like 3 lines up. And it
Yeah.
says, Halha, the tongue of the northern continent and the language of the lands to the east. Halha is the tongue of the southern continent, not the northern continent. So I saw that and I was like, no way.
She made a move. Everybody once called her out on that. Oh my god,
No.
that's
But I saw it and I was like, oh, wow, this is the first one I've seen.
well, I wouldn't have spotted that because I haven't studied the map, but holy
Yeah. Well, it mentioned whenever they went there that everyone was speaking Halha because that was the language of the southern continent. So whenever it not even on the map, but
did
whenever
you
it said
check on the
northern, I
map?
knew.
Did you check on
N
the map?
no, this map and this one only has the southern continent, but Haha is the language that they're speaking here
Right,
in the southern continent. So,
right.
but also there was a typo in and whoever's listening, this contains spoilers for Fourth Wing, so just skip ahead like 30 seconds. But there was a typo in that one as well about how Liam threw ice in one of the battles, and I was like, "He's not an ice wielder." So, like, I love catching little typos on people.
Yeah, but they were talking about the fact that some of those people had 2 sigils.
Yeah, but I think those were the rebels, and I don't think he was.
I
Was
thought
he?
Liam was. Yeah,
Is
I
he?
think he was.
I
I
don't
think he
know.
was. He was with,
We'll do a whole deep dive into
I
those
don't know.
eventually.
I can't wait to do that one. I got
I
my
know.
I don't know if you know, but Wing they did a Wing and Claw edition of Fourth Wing, so they had,
Oh,
like, the sprayed edges with the dragons on the new books too, so they all
uh-uh.
match now.
Are they all the dark covers on those?
Yeah,
Okay, I've seen
yeah,
those.
they're
Oh my
all
gosh, I saw so I was a little upset by the fact that Kelly Hart was bullied into changing the cover of Quicksilver.
why?
I don't with Kingfisher on it. He looks really young and the butterflies are little whatever, but I'm mad that everybody bullied her out of that because I feel like we missed out on having Saris as option for book 2. But
Yeah,
so I was always kind of like anti the new cover, but I was at the store the other day and I picked it up and it is beautiful.
it
Have you
is
seen it in
nice.
person?
I've seen it, yeah, I've seen it, it's very, very nice, but I like the original Quicksilver one
I
as
do
well,
too.
so
It was really hard for me
I
not
think
to
I
buy
might
it.
I think I might buy both just so I can have both because I really liked both. I've got a
Yeah,
pre-order on the next one's coming out in November, right? Yeah, I have my
or I
pre
think 11th or 17th. I
yeah,
think it's
something like
17th, and
that.
then the Will of the Mini second book, I think, is the 11th.
Yeah,
I got a bunch
something like
of
that.
good books coming out.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
So,
excited. But yeah, I got them and I'm like, because it was threshing day on the first, right? I'm like, "Yay!"
yeah,
Totally
that's
off topic.
good. I'm done. I don't have anything else on this first part.
Okay. Well, like I said, I had notes and I had no idea what it said. My husband's like, "I can't even read that. Is that even in English?" I'm like,
I don't
I don't know,
know.
like, my line I was writing and my line went, like and was, like, down here, and then I wrote across, I'm like, I don't even know what I was trying to fucking say. I
I
don't
don't
even
know
know if it
why
was
I was
about the
trying to
book.
work.
I don't even know if it was about the book because I was reading in hospital because I was there for a while, I was reading in hospital, and I got pretty far, but then there was a big chunk where I'm like, I don't even know. It's terrible.
Wow.
It's absolutely terrible, but I'm excited for the next part. Absolutely excited for the
It's
next part.
really good. Like, the next part is good enough that I rank Tower of Dawn, like, in the middle of the books on my ranking and not down low.
Really? Okay, well, I right now, it's, like, pretty close to the bottom because of how slow it's been. Like, that was a lot of pages for him to still not be on his feet yet, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I really enjoy this book. There's just so much character growth, and then there is some action and some big revelations and stuff like that in the
Yeah,
second.
well, yes. Yeah, I have to admit there was a couple of, like, shock things for me, like, holy shit balls. Like, I don't even
Just
know how anything about
wait.
myself.
There's a huge jaw-dropping, like, "Oh my gosh," moment that happens in the second part, and feel free to message me whenever you get there because it's not a spoiler for me because I've already read it, but I remember the first time reading this book, and I was behind my friend, and I called her and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this," and she's like, "I was waiting for you to get there." Oh,
I know, well, my friend JC, she's already read the series because we were gonna read them at the same time, but she blew ahead of me, so I just let her get on with it, and she was like, "Oh, you're on Tara Dawn?" And I wonder what she meant by that.
yeah,
I'm like, "Yeah."
it's good.
Now you've just said that, now I'm guessing there's
It's
something
good.
really good
It's, like,
coming.
literally just like, "Oh my gosh." Like, you know whenever you find out, like, some information and you just, like, can't stop thinking about it for a few days?
Yeah.
It's kinda
God,
along
now
those
I've
lines.
gotta how far like, just give me a clue
I
as to
have
how much
no
I have
idea.
to
I haven't read this
do.
book
Okay,
in, like, 2 years, I don't know. But
fine, be that way.
if it plays along to SJM style, it's in the mass hole, so it's probably in the last 100 pages.
Okay, fine, I will wait. Woo!
Yeah. I'll get
I'm
there.
very excited to get going.
Me
I hope
too.
you enjoyed this episode. I'm absolutely loving talking to Hannah about this stuff because she makes me think about things that I didn't even think about before, and then I
You're
have more
welcome.
questions, which I kinda love and I kinda hate. Thanks for that.
You're
But you can
welcome.
always yeah, you're a pain in my butt, but I love you. If you wanna follow us on our social medias, you can find Hannah on Instagram at the toppling TBR_Hannah, HANNA. You can find me on Instagram too at the toppling TBR_Stacy. You can find our Facebook page, that's at the toppling TBR, our YouTube channel at the toppling TBR, and you can find us on Spotify. You just have to type in the toppling TBR as well. I hope you have a really great reading week, guys, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, bye.
Take care, guys.